Financial technology can apply to any innovation in how people transact business. From the invention of money to the complex system of bookkeeping and financial accounting. Since the internet and mobile revolution, such fintech platforms have grown explosively. So today we have with us Mr. Aman Kapoor from Credit Sudhar, one of the early startups of such fintech platforms. Mr. Kapoor, welcome to Rubaru on TIOLTube.com. So how do you think has a concept of credit and finance platforms taken shape in India over the years, considering that people still abstain from these contemporary methods of taking loans?
I think financial platforms and credit platforms, they've seen a lot of change over the last few years with people getting more used to internet and mobile phones penetrating into people's hand. Access to such applications has really grown and very, very fast. Today, what we see is that people are actually migrating onto such platforms, and they are more interested in dealing with such platforms rather than the conventional ways of speaking to the people who are experts and not available on platforms. When I say this, I mean that historically, people, if would want to apply for a loan, they would call up some direct sales associate, or they would call up the bank and somebody would visit their house. But today that has changed completely. Today people want to go online, apply. It's more convenient. Plus they are able to compare various products, pricing and all those stuff, which makes it convenient for them as well. So that's something which is really changing the face and the way the people want to apply for credit today.
So since you mentioned the phase, do you really think that the phase has really increased? Because still people shy away from these contemporary methods of approaching such platforms, and usually just simply approach the bank, and if they were aware, they were to avail a simple personal loan or say education loan. So how do you see the transformation?
I think the transformation has already happened to a larger extent. Because people, there are fewer people today actually who contact the banks directly. There are various platforms wherein the people would come, and it's not restricted or limited to the people who stay or live in A category companies or metropolitans. Just to cite an example, we today have customers from over 250 cities across the country. And there are a few cities possibly which I had not even heard of till some time back. So people from all over the country are actually wanting to go and understand as to what is really happening in the sphere before they want to decide. So these platforms are actually helping them in making wise financial decisions. So that's the reason why people are actually coming onto these
You just mentioned the cities which you've not even heard of. So which essentially means there are large population who are not even aware of the importance of credit worthiness or say credit score for that matter. How do you think have the companies or ventures like yours have been able to educate the masses at large?
I think we have, since the inception, the biggest concern that we have had was awareness. For all practical purposes, the bureaus started working only in 2005, once the act was passed by the parliament. And it took a few years before they could stabilize the credit institutions, the lenders, the banks started sharing the data in the correct format, and they were able to build the algorithms, so on and so forth. So over last few years, while the awareness has improved, but still there is a long way to go about it. We had conducted a survey in 2013 on one of its kind of survey on awareness about credit score, and we've conducted the second part of it now. Now what we see is that in 2014, while only about 14% of people, respondents, actually stated that yes, they had ever heard of something like credit score or credit bureau or credit report. Today, in last 3 years, it has gone up to 47%.
Okay.
And we consistently made an effort that we have to go and educate people. How we did it was twofold. One, we approached corporates. The corporates also used to approach us as to conduct sort of talks about how important the credit score is and how does it impact their financial life.
Right.
Apart from this, we also started distributing free credit scores for anybody and everybody who's an Indian national.
Okay.
Absorbing the cost at our end and giving them not only the score and credit report and credit score, but also informing them as to what it really means to them. So basically educating them. And that's the reason why we see that there are a lot of people across the country who have had the curiosity and they've come on our platform to understand what does it actually means to them.
Right.
So, but yes, I still would say that there is still a long way to go, because in the recently concluded survey, we still say that only 47% of respondents actually said that yes, they were aware of anything about credit score or credit bureaus.
So if you could explain us the business modalities of how the business works.
Our business model basically entails around two things. While yes, our target audience continues to be subprime, people who are low on credit score for various reasons. It could be on account of defaults which they have had made in past for any exigency, or because of unawareness, or because they are not active enough on bureaus so that they could be ranked or scored effectively. So one, we help them improve their credit health, and two, which is more important, we also lend to these people, unlike any other lender or bank who would shy away from extending loans to this segment. We walk the talk. We have a product which is specifically meant for subprime.
So when you say we reach out to the our target customers, do you have various categories, as in corporate houses and then individuals or citizens per se, or is it general?
No, I think we are more into retail piece. And it is related to everybody. While we do have a product on corporate end as well, but predominantly our clientele is retail based and all individuals.
So how is the data analyzed, and what are the key parameters of analyzing the data?
I think what we have done over the last 5 years is basically develop a good platform, tools that help us analyzing somebody's actual issue and then advising them as to how we would need to improve the credit health.
Right.
There are few parameters. While I would not be able to explain everything, because that's a vast field, because if I get into it, that it can take a long time. But to say, for example, how many loans a person has, what is the kind of ratio in terms of secured and unsecured. For example, a person is holding X number of cards. So what is the kind of limit vis-a-vis his income? What kind of usage he has on the available credit limit? How are his payment patterns? So on and so forth. There are multiple factors actually which impact the credit score of an individual, and not necessarily it is going to be the repayment alone. The repayment is one of the parameters which impacts.
Right.
So there are multiple factors. We have our own system to evaluate somebody's credit worthiness and guide him as to how he can improve upon it.
Right. So could you also explain how does co-borrowing helps an individual, and what are the tax benefits that accrue to an individual with the help of say?
See, as a co-borrower, you or anybody else, the borrower is actually as much responsible for the repayment as the primary borrower would be.
Right.
So just in case a person defaults, if I'm a co-borrower, I'm liable to pay.
Right.
Similarly, if it is paid in time, well, and there are no defaults, so the benefits that would accrue in terms of improving my credit health or stabilizing my credit health, those would also accrue to me, because these loans will get reported in bureau for all the borrowers. So if there are two borrowers, say for example, so both of them would have this account reflecting in their report.
Correct.
As far as the tax benefit goes, tax benefit is available to both of them as per the laws. If a person is a co-borrower in, say, a housing loan, then according to the laws, so tax benefits are available to both of them.
How transparent do you think these credit rating agencies are? Do you think any major reforms are necessary at this point in time to make them more fairer?
I think one reform which is just about to come on board is a free credit score officially, which is going to get rolled out effective 1st January. So RBI is already mandated that a free credit score should be provided to the individuals by the credit agencies. Now, that is very, very important, because till the time I know what is there on my report, it's just like my medical report. So if I get my check done regularly, so I'm aware that how my health is performing. Similarly, my credit, which literally impacts my financials in the long run, I need to know how I'm performing on this. So a free credit report, which is a global phenomena, all developed economies actually, it is a mandate that the credit rating agencies have to extend a free report. So they are going to extend it effective 1st January here as well.
Okay, so if that's going to happen, I'm coming back to my question. How does this is specific to your business model? How do you make money? As simple as that.
Okay, of course we help people in getting loan. Now, when we extend a loan, we do have our own margins like any other lender. Right? So we are a lender ourselves. So we make money out of lending. Plus, we have a small fee for the people who really want to improve their credit health for their guidance. So this is something which is in addition to our lending piece. So that's how we operate.
Right, Mr. Kapoor, thank you so much for giving your precious time to the TIOL Tube. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.